News Talk 980. My name is Les Brown. I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. And we thank you so much for joining us. We come your way Monday through Friday from 2 o'clock until 4, and it's worth it. Let me tell you why. Because we provide a program that's designed to motivate you to feel good about yourself and stimulating conversations on topics that's of interest to you. And we learn a lot from each other in the conversations and the stories that we hear. Listen, if you like positive messages, I want to encourage you to go to my website, lesbrown.com. That's lesbrown.com. I have a message called It's Possible, but after you see that, then you'll get a series of other motivational messages that I guarantee you is going to change your life. It's going to put more money in your pocketbook, and it's going to change your attitude about the possibilities of your living your dream. You'll begin to do things you don't even realize right now that you have the ability to do. That's lesbrown.com. You get a series of motivational videos absolutely free from me. My gift to you for listening to the program. We're talking about a new study, and there are people that have taken exception to this study. This study says that the perceived value, the emotional perceived value for kids has skyrocketed to a lot of people. But he said that in this study that children are economically worthless but emotionally priceless to their families, to the parents. And the reason he said this, he said, researchers said that at one time children came with an economic payoff, namely by working on a farm or bringing in a paycheck, but that has changed. And there are a lot of people experiencing financial hardship, especially women who've gone through divorce and they're left with kids, and there are single fathers out here raising children by themselves. It is not easy to be a parent. I was a challenging child for my mother, and I know I pushed us to some points where she had to have some second thoughts. Did I do the right thing? This woman had a third-grade education, domestic worker on Miami Beach, and she raised 7 children by herself. Leslie in Studio City. Kids are good, but don't expect a paycheck. All right, Leslie in line 6. Talk to us, Leslie. Tell us what you mean about that.
For taking my call. I have to preface all of this by saying I wouldn't give up the experience for anything. And I love my kids more than life, so I don't regret having them. But I think the key words here are worth it. If you have kids and are expecting them to be 30 age or expecting any kind of financial help from them in your old age, worth it? I don't think so. It doesn't seem to be a fair trade on investments. Certainly when you think of how much it costs to put them through school, cars, all of this, I think that no, that in that regard, it certainly isn't worth it. But I have to tell you, when I look into my baby boy's eyes, who is now 35, there isn't a feeling in the world I would trade that for. That is my life right there.
Yes, I don't care how. Notice you said your baby boy, and he's 35. He's still your baby boy.
He will always be 5 years old to me.
I love it.
And I hope he's not listening.
Oh, boy. Listen, thank you so much for listening and calling in and sharing your story.
Thank you for taking my call.
Okay. Francis, I want to talk to you. Okay, I want to talk to you right now, Francis, because I tell you, it is, you hear these various opinions about this issue. It's interesting how people see it. And Francis on line 4, I want to hear from you. You say kids are a financial burden, but they are worth the financial burden. I want to thank you for being so patient there in Walnut.
Well, thank you so much for taking my call. You know what? They are a financial burden, but I think a lot of parents bring up that financial burden upon themselves because we want to buy them the most expensive clothes. We want to buy them the name brand items. We want to take them to the amusement park. So in that aspect, sometimes I feel we bring it upon ourselves. For example, in my case, I'm going to make sure they have the best education. And paying for private school when they were in elementary was a financial burden. Do I regret it? No. They're wonderful kids. I have a 17-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl. Now, Michael, my son, is my dancing partners when we go out dancing to family parties. My daughter is my shopping partner. So it all starts with the way we raise them when they're little. The love and the attention we give them when they're little is what we're going to get back at the end.
Wow. Listen, you're making a point there. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing what you just said. You said a mouthful, Francis. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening to the program. Okay. And listen, those of you that are listening, I want you to make sure you stay around, and I want you to join in the conversation in the next hour, because we're going to be talking about, have you ever heard this term, helicopter parent? Have you ever heard that term? I'm not familiar with that term, helicopter parent. And so this is a totally different topic, and I encourage you to stick around and get ready for that, because I'd like to get your story around that and what we're going to be talking about. Mary on line 3 in Marina Del Rey. I want to hear from you. I live in Playa Vista, right down the street from you. I want to hear from you as a single mother going through law school. Your kids turned out great. How did you manage to do that?
I think a lot of it's just attitude. Mm-hmm. My philosophy of being a parent is that your only duty is to raise a good human. And if you do that, you've helped society.
Yes.
And I just thought parenting is just a good thing to do. And I enjoyed it, loved it. We always have, I tell parents that it gives you the greatest highs and the greatest lows in your life. Mm-hmm. But I think that you just have a positive attitude.
Let me ask you, Mary, what was the most challenging thing you found out about being a parent? What's the most challenging part of it for you?
Trying to manage a day and find good child care. Mm-hmm. I was going to law school when they were very little, and that was quite a difficult thing to find good care.
Yes, yeah. And in the midst of that, being able to find time to work in your dream, because you had dreams of what you wanted to do for yourself career-wise.
Yes.
Yes, very good.
But I would take them to the track meets, I'd take them to gymnastics, and I'd be studying in the bleachers.
Mm-hmm.
You just do what you have to do.
You do what you have to do. That's the key, and that's what my mother did. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate your calling in. I really appreciate you listening to the program.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Holly, hello, Holly. And Woodland Hills, I want to talk to you. You have 6 daughters. I have 5 daughters. You have 6 daughters. Yes, yes. I have 6 daughters, and I have 5 daughters and 5 sons. And Lord say, be fruitful and multiply, and I took him seriously. Listen. So you said that it requires effort and time. Talk to us about that. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I think that people can't go in thinking they're going to have children so that they take care of you. You need to, for my husband and I anyway, we want to make the world a better place. So we're hoping to raise children that will embrace our society and make the world a better place. That's kind of our take on it. And this whole thing about needing to buy all these things, I think that our society has made it important. Like, who can afford all the, Nintendos and DSs and this and that? I mean, it's very expensive. So children need to just go outside and play, go on a pogo stick for a hike, run around in the front yard, just be, that doesn't cost anything.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You got a good point there, Holly. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. We were talking, if you just tuned in, we were talking about the Journal of Psychological Science said that emotional rewards of having kids seems to be a myth. The study says that when parents are confronted with economic costs of having children, most parents will exaggerate their happiness to validate their choice to have children. And I wanted to know, how did you feel about it? And every call that we had, without exception, people took exception to that study. Karen said that the kids are worth it. Yes, it's tough, but it's worth it. Teresa said absolutely they were worth it. And Juliet said you have unconditional love from your kids, and that's what she has with her 2 girls. And we want to thank you for weighing in on the conversation, and stick around for the next hour. I want to tell you about helicopter parents. This is the conversation you want to be a part of. My name is Les Brown. This is